We are live. Welcome back to the channel. We are Guided Primal Sutra podcast.
Hmm.
We are the co-founders of Primal Sutra. I myself am known as Uncle Makara or Zoom, also known as Sumed. On the other side there, we have uh Ryan G, associated with Pop's Feet. And yeah, today we're going to talk about Jumanji because it's Jumanji June,
Correct.
and we've realized this is not a movie. This is
Hmm.
a metaphor for life. This is a
Hmm.
way that we can understand spirituality, you know?
Right.
Because I mean, again, originally it was a board game, I get it, right?
Yes.
But it's about being dropped into a spiritual simulation with no warning, no map, no pause button, right? One moment you're
Hmm.
sipping coffee and the next moment like you're getting adopted by a god. So it's like
Don't get me started. Yeah.
so we have to try to like roll the dice in such a way where we play the game of life,
Mm.
right? And once we hit the start game, that's the second we probably took the first breath when we came into this world.
Hmm.
And each round, each test is just another shadow to outwit, another archetype to activate, and another fucking snake trying to whisper fear in your ear, like that fucking scene from Jungle Book, right? Or was it Jungle
Mm.
Book?
Trust in me, so what he tends to think. I don't know about fear, but it has mostly to do with the creating the
Yeah.
illusion of safety.
Yeah, exactly. So the jungle is technically us because we are chaotic, sacred, unpredictable, wild. And the only way out of this chaos is through the chaos,
Mm.
right? So through the vines of confusion, through the fog of fear, through the weird animal tracks left behind.
Hmm.
So I'm just playing off of this metaphor, Ryan G. What are you thinking about? What's coming up for you?
The way I see it, the month of June is the month of chaos. And it has less to do with the chaos on the outside, it's more to do with the chaos on the inside. And the willingness to sit with your chaos, and it can be emotions, it can be negative thoughts, it can be anything. Of course, I'm going directly for the whole shadow work aspect of this mystic art, but also you must accept the situation as is and then adapt to it. That's the
Yeah,
only way you're gonna survive it. And I recommend all who listen and watch our video of today related to Jumanji June to rewatch primarily the first Jumanji movie. Therein lies the code. Is the
yeah.
young boy getting trapped, being cast away or lost. Life continues, people get hurt, etc. And somehow he gets found again and returns
Mm,
still surviving. But now he has to reintegrate this caveman shaman attitude while being hunted, by the way, by some madman, some British madman, right?
yeah.
And somehow still outwit the dangers in modern times. And that's what it is, in my opinion.
Welcome to Jumanji, the Nexus is saying where your ego dies faster than your extra lives. True that. True that. Yeah. This is like therapy with lions, right? Gee,
It is sad to be with
this
lions
is
because you cannot lie to
yeah.
lions, or
Right.
you will be eaten.
Four unsuspecting players, one ancient jungle. Zero chill.
Doesn't that remind you of Brad one time talked about his time at the circus and one of his uncles happened to be a lion
Mm,
tamer. And I was
right.
listening intently because I don't know a lot of people from the circus, right? And
Yeah.
he talked about the lioness as a metaphor for something else, but it seemed
Mm,
relevant for this one, where showing fear is gonna get you killed because this animal, this lioness, the only thing that fears her is something to be eaten or killed.
Right.
and E was afraid of her. And as she's walking past her cage, he didn't realize he was being tracked. Now, thank God he wasn't in the cage, or else he would have been dead. Something along those lines. And then
Mm.
once the uncle found that out, Brad had to face that fear. Now, I never had to deal with a wild animal to that extent before, where there's an actual lioness and I have to face it with a chair and a whip. What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that you have to show her, like, not only do I not fear you, I will walk towards you and take away your food.
Mm.
What? That's crazy. And
Yeah.
there have been native tribes that have done similar things, like in Africa. We've seen some of the movies, like a group of tall, skinny men walk
Yeah.
towards, say, a carcass of a zebra being mauled,
Yeah.
eaten by a
What
pack
do you
of
think of
lions.
the what do you think of like the newer Jumanji movies? Because like it's kind of strange to think about, but like they're trying to optimize character yoga in a strange way, but they're doing it through a video game, right? Like a nerd with a buff avatar or like a, you know, a diva in a middle-aged man's body, right? So like it's
Um,
it's almost like out of body, but like they're becoming these characters in a sense. They have to pick
so the way
the
that I see
characters.
it
Yeah.
is a fairy tale is being sold, in my opinion. There's a
Mm,
reason the more recent Jumanjis aren't as iconic as the first one. There's a reason. And
absolutely.
two, there's no such thing as a shortcut in this path. In cases like this, there's only optimal and less optimal. And if you take a shortcut, you cut yourself short. In this
Right.
context. In this context.
Right.
Because you wouldn't know what it would take. You wouldn't know what it would take for someone with your constitution, etc., to reach the highest of highs, so to speak.
Right. It's almost like the game chooses you, right? Like you didn't choose awakening, initiation, or purpose. It kind of selected you as it like summoned you in this path in a certain way. It summoned me for sure. So I didn't know I'd be here, you know, on this journey. And once the signs and synchronicities hit Ryan G, I was like, man, there's no going back. You know, imagine going back to our old lives. Like it just wouldn't be the same. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be the same. We would know that this guide thing actually existed, that we would have some impact on our lives, right? And it's almost like Jumanji forces you into an avatar, right? Just like life assigns you a certain karma or a certain body or like a certain personality type. So how do people upgrade Ryan G from NPC to player one? How do they go from just being anybody to a somebody in this game?
Remember this meme called "When you're 5 years old and suddenly come online or something? Maybe you stepped on a Lego, maybe you were constipated and had a really
Yeah.
hard shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you
Hmm.
come online, and some people it happens earlier or later or whatever, but it's gonna happen, especially when in this era. Now, for NPC to, and I don't know, awakens or whatever you want to call it. Um, hmm, when is enough enough? That's kind of when it starts. Are you sick and tired of me? Sick and tired? You blah blah blah. That's when it starts. It's like red pill,
Pick the
blue pill,
character you're given. Yeah.
red pill,
Yeah.
blue pill, and knowing me, I will take a boat, chop it into fine powder.
What a drug addict, bro.
Put it on
Okay,
glass
give
because
me
it makes it
both.
easy, right? Have like cause I like American Express. Have like a $1 bill, and just sniff
Bruh.
it to make it useful. Fuck it, let's see
Right.
where it goes. Now, again, disclaimer: don't do drugs, kids, unless it's with me. Um, so what I'm saying is, if the NPC wants to stay an NPC and enjoy the adventure of the NPC, then that's just what it is. If they decide
Yeah.
to evolve, then they must do the work that requires that
Absolutely.
evolution.
Absolutely. You can't just skip levels, right? You can't go from NPC to player one
Oh,
right away. There's a
well,
lot of adaptation, evolution. Yeah.
just to play the devil's advocate for a second, we have skipped things like timelines before, where because of
Ah,
the intensive work that we've done, that it's kind of like doing so many side quests, and when you meet a boss on a certain stage, you whoop the dog shit out of him because he's not as strong
yeah.
anymore.
Also, it's like, let's say that you have a part of the jungle and you've explored that part of the jungle, then you know that other parts of the jungle surrounding that area are going to be similar or maybe uh better or
Plausibly.
worse, right? So
It's
it's kind of like mastering your own mind is the game because the jungle in this metaphor is the subconscious, right?
yes.
So
Yes, it
where the
is.
creatures represent your suppressed fears, old patterns, ancestral curses, whatever, and you are just winning the game by mastering your emotions, your mindset, your character, and so forth. Right. And you get as many lives as you get. Think of it as ego deaths. Not you don't get as many lives as you want, obviously, but every death teaches you something in a sense. So yeah, use it or lose it.
Use it or
uh
lose it. Which kind of scares me with the brahmacharya at some point, you know? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
In that context, it does. Yeah.
hmm, might
Yeah.
have
I
to do
wonder,
something with
yeah.
it.
Those SR thoughts at 3 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't get me started when I wake up and I'm going like, what
Yeah.
now? Anyway, this is completely derailing the podcast. Um, at the end of the day, you were dealing with multiple ecological systems, the inner world, the outer world, friends, family, etc. And
Yeah.
it's up to you to decide who you want to be and what kind of adventure you want to have. Not just life, but what adventure do you want to have? Adventure in the sense of what life would it take for you for you to be filled with energy and life force and goddamn it TXL. And I'm gonna have to do this for a second because you just changed the goddamn icon. Um
Bro, he's just showing up as your subconscious mind. What do you mean? Like this is a part of
exactly.
the game, you know?
It's just a part of the game.
So we can I am you. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, access super consciousness, guys. Basically what we're saying. And also, I think that every time like you go online, like you call it, Ryan, like once your heart beats faster, like you know the next level up, you know the next quest. And if you ignore it though, the game starts getting louder, right? Things don't work accordingly. Weird shit starts to happen. A lot of resistance shows up
Hmm.
randomly. But once you answer the call, fuck, you're unstoppable because you're working with something greater than you,
Hmm.
right? Some people call that God, but it's really a higher intelligence that's running our program. And I think we win by integration over escape because a lot of spirituality is like, let me just meditate to escape from my current life, not to bring peace to my current life, which is what
If if my
it's
mushroom
meant to, you know.
strips, etc., have any value, if there was any lesson, and that is that you just can't escape it. You can't escape the lesson until you
Yeah.
have, slice and dice the pattern so that you can understand it and move on from it. It those types of pattern or patterns like it will keep just showing up in your life and keep pissing you off. And if you want to look at it from a more farm animal perspective, you will be farmed for your energy, your emotions, your output, whatever. And I ain't into that.
You know the Bruce Lee quote of you absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, add what is uniquely your own. It's almost
Yes.
like you're picking what works, right? You're tossing away what doesn't, and you're remixing reality
Mhm.
like a DJ with like divine amnesia. So chaos magic is sort of like that in this example because they say nothing is true, everything is permitted, right? And that's not just from Assassin's Creed, it's also, magic law. So truth is flexible, reality is moldable, meaning is chosen, not given. So that means that you can actually use this metaphor in your life by understanding. Let's take a sigil for an example, right? You take a sentence, I am confident, and then you remove the repeating letters and stylize it into a symbol. You charge it through something, and then you forget about it. But just the act of doing that creates a portal for you, creates a shift for you, right? You could become a trickster one day and a warrior the next. There's no rules in this thing in that
But
way.
it,
You can create experiments. You can change small variables, right? You can act as if and then change it. You could pretend today you're the main character and then tomorrow you're not, right? So it's like you have
mm,
to constantly be in this Tao, this invisible substrate. You always have to catch the wave in a sense, like you're surfing.
mm, that's what you have to do, yeah. Your character is ever evolving. You must allow to evolve. The
Yeah.
context in which your life is will always be changing. And should you lose everything, at least you have a powerful character that can rebuild it all.
Yeah.
Wish
Yeah,
not
man.
for, a good life. Wish for the character to have it. Exactly to excel. Wish not for
Mm.
lesser burdens. Wish for broad shoulders and a strong back to carry it. Yes.
So in our last Surya channeling,
Yeah.
I had noticed that he'd brought up the fact that the Makara and Diblu are similar in that they're made up of many different creatures at once. And that kind of reminded me of like our whole hybridization of deities protocol. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could, in your mind, if you have the creativity and the imagination to back it, you could merge Batman with Kali and Thanos with Beyonce. It doesn't even matter in your mind. You see what I'm saying? Like you can create a smorgasbord of all of these different fractal archetypes to create one whole being. If it evokes power in you, it works for you. So who's to say you can't blend one pantheon or one world with another, or one style of judo with another style of fighting? Like you got to bring this mixed martial arts approach in spirituality, right? That's kind of what we're explaining. Because there's like style benders, like Israel. How do you pronounce his name? Adesanya.
Adesanya.
Yeah, right. I think you pronounce it differently. But yeah, he's like a style bender, right? So it's like he can weave and adapt because I think he started with like kickboxing
Yes.
and then he moved to boxing. Yeah, so it's like being able to bridge all of these different styles and bring it all together. And of course, pick an intent, right? Like a
Correct.
very basic uh chaos magic DIY style would be like pick an intent, choose a symbol or action to represent it, charge it somehow, and let it go. Those are the four steps. So you could do that with anything. And this is
Yes.
why chaos magic is for the spiritual hackers. It's if religion is a script, chaos magic is open source code of that script, right? So we are taking the original blueprint for all religions. We're not
Mm.
religious. We do live in religious ways with rules and regulations, but we don't prescribe to one set of rules or one dogmatic uh, path working. We like to blend, and I think that blending nature is really powerful in this path working, Ryan. What do you think about that? I know it can cause complications and problems, and people tend to not integrate well when it gets too overly complex. So yes, simplicity is next to godliness as well. I think
So the cycle
there's
is, yes, you blend, does make it complicated, but then you through the learning of the whatever lessons they're trying to teach you, given the circumstances, suddenly it becomes simpler. Because becomes simpler, you have some mastery over whatever this lesson has entailed, and then the cycle continues. That's how I
mm,
see it. It's a constant cycle. It's the same thing when I started with grappling, right? Super complex, wouldn't even know what I'm doing. Years pass,
right.
I'm a little bit more competent. I can actually pull off submissions on some MMA guys, something like that. That's what I have
Mm,
to say about that.
awesome, man. I think we've gone way past 30 minutes, right?
No, I got 10 more minutes.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I've been timing it.
Damn. Oh, sweet. I was in the zone. Okay.
Mm,
Um, I don't think this is for control freaks, right, Ryan? Because if you're trying to create too much micromanagement with this process, it's it's going to be more clunky. Like you got to make this like jazz, and that's what we initially had started with this idea and
yeah,
concept to
yeah,
improvise.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You must be willing to improvise.
Mm. Oh, TXL has some comments. The limit is skill. That's why the pink characters are dope, like Kirby, Boo, Ditto. Yeah. Bro, today in the visa office, they fucking like took my shirt and then they made it pink. And I'm going, how did they do that? Like, like first
Kid
of
Buu is
all,
one of the greatest pink characters in my opinion. What a fantastic villain. Absolute chaos. But you were
it's
saying.
probably a Venus code or something. But anyway, yeah. Very random. Very random. These little pranks happen all day for me. Just random pranks.
Hmm.
But they're
Hmm.
fun and they always help me to learn something new, like with a new, fresh pair of eyes every time. The 11th is the
Hmm.
strawberry moon. Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Damn, that's going to be a portal day and a moon day.
Full moon day,
Oof.
yes. Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's a gut punch. Yeah.
Hmm. I lost my train of thought for a second. I was gonna ask something. Anyway, let's continue. Oh, um, let's talk about student immersions as we have like 8 minutes or less to, for the outro. Um,
Yeah.
this topic is relevant for student immersions because we will be faced by chaos from all ends. Regardless of whether it's a 2 week thing or 3 week, whatever. Um, we will be faced, and we have been faced, by the most random encounters. The one that freaks me out still is the one in New Zealand when you warned me about that I am to avoid any mermaid themed or the themed related things. And it was last night. We're driving under a bridge. I was feeling so fucking weak, and I am doing my best to keep myself in check, observing my emotions and thoughts, and then I see a fucking hand on the outside of the
Mm,
car at my window side while I'm looking at it, and the hand is just moving, and I'm just like, that is not the hand of a human. I need to pretend I didn't see it so I can tell you guys later about it, and I'm just
mm,
calming myself down, observing my emotions, and keeping myself neutral. I'm like, okay, these are fear tactics. You're trying to provoke me in some way. I will not allow it. And these
mm.
are the things that tend to happen, well, to me at least. I believe Sumit had it a little bit less for some reason in New Zealand. Uh, Besides
Yeah.
the gnomes were interesting.
The
Aside,
gnomes freaked me out, bro. Yeah, fucking,
well, okay,
that
but give
was the
more
test for
context.
me.
Give more context. So we're at a hippie village, hint, hint, wink, wink,
Yeah.
and partook in the party. And when we went back to the car and the tent we set up, big ass tent. Suddenly you see visions and I'm looking at you. No TXL, not that kind of village. Uh, Definitely not that kind of village. Um, and I am suddenly surprised that you say, "Oh, I'm going to be laying on the ground now in the cold tent." And I just looked at you and went, "You know what? I'm just gonna be in the car. I'm
Right.
tired. My calves are burning. I'm tired of walking up and down these damn hills."
It was
And
almost like transformation by fire. They needed to feel my patience and presence in order for me to level up and like basically mend some ancestral thing that was going on with the gnome's energy
yes,
and what
yes.
they picked up in me. Yeah, it's very strange that
You want me to
experience.
talk
And
about it, or shall we skip on over to the next?
nah, I think we should skip it because it's more for people who are really invested in our path and want
Okay.
to know these little stories and
See,
be in the
if
inner
you weren't
circle.
that, you would know these things. So we
Right.
can, either A, prevent such things from happening, or B, fucking resolve it in some way, because it's always a way to
Just
resolve
join
such.
the tribe, guys. Just join the tribe, join the Telegram, free Telegram group, just become an
Mm,
adept and join in on the fun. It's a lot of fun. And one thing actually, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Nexus is telling me to give this message. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your evolution, right? Like
yeah.
sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create distance and let them meet you at your level if they rise. And the ones who flinch when they say I am a god, you got to watch out for that, right? Because the ones who know, right? If you resonate with that, you're my people, you know.
Mm,
And we don't tolerate ungodliness in our circle. So we remove probably a few people from the group each week, right, Ranji? Out of
mm,
our standard.
roughly. Like every night we tend to do such things, and I recommend,
And
regardless
yeah,
of
we
whether
want a
you're in a,
community of visionaries, not like people who are just ninja
well,
watchers.
not
So
not
so if you're
just Ninja Archers. Okay, sure.
Yeah, no, I mean they're just watching, right? They're just
Okay,
not participating.
okay,
So
okay.
this is like a wake-up call, I think, for all people on the Adepts group,
Mm,
is that you need to wake up, right? You need to activate that energy within you and actually express yourself as it's needed. Because this is a Sangha, guys, and you got to use it for your own benefit, for your own expression, right? Don't let
yep.
society call you narcissistic for loving yourself. You know,
Yeah, yeah. They want a good soldier. I ain't here to be just another soldier, just another number. I want to live. I want to live a good life
exactly.
on my terms.
We were made to expand, man. That's why we started this mystery school in the first place. But if it's not for you,
Mm.
you'll know.
Well, if you really want to know why we started this mystery school, was because the match in the date program wasn't working out.
Right. Right.
I'll
But then
never
that
forget.
transformed into shadow
Ah,
work mastery,
yes,
and then it was a bridge towards this Primal
yes,
Sutra thing.
yes. I will
When we were
never
getting
forget.
ostracized
Ah,
and kicked out of our old tribe,
yeah.
and we decided to
Mm.
go build our own paradise. We'll see you
It's
at the finish line.
so well, so well.
What were you gonna say, Ryan?
Oh no, I was just thinking about one of the guys I coached during match in the dates, and it was just a nightmare. Because he just wouldn't fucking
Mm,
listen. Like I'm lately telling
mm,
him to like just follow the script. It's
right.
every I'm literally copy pasting like my answers. Like she's she's already sold. What do you mean? What's triggering you so heavily? And then after setting up exactly the Excel, and 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 just afterwards, I believe you and I talked about it, right? And we're like, I don't know, man, just something is triggering the shit out of him, and that's how the Soul Eater program got created, because
Matches
like,
matches into deities. That's great.
well, yeah, because it's all started with. a match, like a hope of warmth, because that's what we
Yeah.
truly desire, right? We as
A
human
spark.
beings,
Yeah,
spark, yeah,
exactly.
the spark, a purpose, that twinkle in your eyes or whatever, that Sprite commercial,
Yeah.
well, to lessen the thirst, to oh, it's Coca Cola or whatever. Um, it's
Yeah, they
that
have one
life
called
force,
Thumbs Up in India that's Taste the Thunder. That's the slogan.
man.
Taste the Vajra.
Taste of Vajra,
Yeah.
because Vajra also means
Dang.
dick, and I'm just like, whoa,
It no, no, it does not really. Let's create context, Ryan, because it doesn't really mean dick. It is a very spiritual ritual object. But it is phallic in nature. So we use it as a way of saying
mm.
dick. Like big Vajra energy, you know what I mean? It is not necessarily dick, but it's playing off of that. So it's not
It is paying off of that, yes.
directly, you know what I mean? It doesn't
Because
actually
big
mean
dick
dick. It
energy
just in our
is
vocabulary it does, you know?
right, 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 right. It has a lot
Yeah,
to do with he who has a lot of life force. Because how
exactly. Yeah,
you can't have big dick energy and have like no life force. It doesn't fucking make sense. So
exactly.
that's kind of the idea. Anyway,
Mm.
that was kind of the 30 minutes.
Fudger man.
Um,
Yeah.
Vajra, man. The outro would be, you're heading on vacation somewhere pretty soon, which we'll not talk about in this podcast. The Sedona thing is still happening. I believe he survived some solar situation last week. For those of you who survived, congratulations. And the coming week, I would recommend preparing for the strawberry moon as per the Excel suggestion. And for those of you who are going to do any shroom trips this full moon, prepare well. If you do heavy fasting, make sure you're prepared. And happy trip.
Happy mooning.
Happy mooning. Especially full mooning.
Right.
Yeah. Fucking bear mooning.
Read the
Okay.
disclaimer. Read the disclaimer. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you enjoy this episode. And if you have any questions, obviously, just shoot us a message, reach out to us. We're pretty friendly on the DMs. We're badass, we know, but we're friendly guys. Just send us a message, talk to us.
Yes.
We'll hear you out. Peace,
Ciao.
guys.